All right. Good evening, everybody. Thank you all for coming. And we'll have our call to order and roll call
President Gerard,
here.
Vice President Burns, Councilmember Ferguson,
Here.
Councilmember Hop. Here. Councilmember Weiss. Here. Mayor Gerard,
Here.
Junior Councilperson Shiana DiColo, Junior Councilperson Thompson, Borough Manager Snyder. Here. Borough Solicitor Harper. Here.
Okay, item one, the approval of the meeting agenda. I need a motion to approve the agenda of the April 1st, 2026 workshop meeting. No second?
Second.
Okay. All right, we have a motion by Councilperson Weiss, seconded by Councilperson Hawk. All those in favor? Aye. Item two, public input, and if you would please come up to the platform here, to the podium, and state your name and address and the reason for addressing council. Okay. Anybody online?
No, I think she should.
All right, item three, announcements.
Next council meeting, April 15th, regular meeting at 7 p.m. in council chambers. Zoning hearing board is scheduled to meet on Wednesday, April 8th at 7 p.m. in council chambers to hear the application of 30 East Lincoln. We'll discuss that a little bit further under reports. Commission is scheduled to meet on Monday, April 27th at 6 p.m. in council chambers. Earth Day Kids event is scheduled for April 22nd, 4:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. at the borough office. New for this spring, leaf bag pickup is scheduled for Monday, April 20th and 27th. Curbside chipping is scheduled for Monday, May 4th. Montgomery County Planning Commission Steering Committee is going to have an open house, which is scheduled for Wednesday, May 13th at 6 p.m. in council chambers. That will also be our spring town hall. We're going to do both of those things together. And the borough office will be closed on Friday, April 3rd for the Good Friday holiday.
Okay. All right, item four, reports from the standing committees and the mayor. And I'll start with budget, finance, labor, and we have nothing to report. We have not met recently. The planning, building, and zoning committee report.
Also in the Larry since he got here tonight, we haven't met recently, so we don't have anything new to report.
Okay, thank you. Public safety and committee report.
Also, we haven't met and there's nothing new to report for that one.
Okay, thank you. Public works and property and equipment committee report. Okay. The utilities committee report.
We have not met recently and don't have anything to report either.
Yeah.
Council President.
All right, the Hatfield Economic Revitalization Outreach Committee report. We did meet recently, and we discussed about one of the things we discussed was about the promotional banners, which we are looking into doing in conjunction with the Indian Valley, through the Indian Valley Chamber of Commerce to help reduce our costs and sort of standardize things. Also, there's been a change to our Fall Fest, which is coming up this year. And that is we are going to be modifying it because we're not going to be having a full car show like we've had in years past due to a conflict with another car show that's going to be going on at the same time. So there'll be a slight change on that. And we also were talking about the effectiveness and if we wanted to continue with the Hatfield Hello program that was instituted about 4 years ago when I came into office, and the general consensus was that it seems to be working well, and we're going to continue with it because it's not impacting our finances, for what we're doing now that we weren't doing before. Any questions? Okay. Mayor Mary Ann Gerard report.
I just have a couple of things to report on. I'm happy to say that the recycling grant for grant year 2023 has been received from DEP. I don't have a dollar amount that we will be receiving, but it's a good sign in that we filed as a group and they approved us as a group. It seemed like they were trying to get away from the group dynamics. So we have received that. I should be able to report on that probably. Our next meeting is in May, so I'll have a dollar amount then. Hopefully we'll have the check. And also I was contacted by Bike North Penn. They are planning on doing a bike ride, and it will be from Lower Gwynedd, and they will meet in Hatfield Borough at the trolley stop at our trail there. That's going to be the midway point, and then they'll go back, and they will be utilizing the portion of the Liberty Bell Trail that has been completed. So I would like to, on that day, to possibly organize a mini park cleanup from like 9 to 10 over at Heritage Park, so we could get our, our residents involved in that, and then maybe go over to the bike display. So hopefully I will be receiving some flyers from Bike North Penn, and then we can just put out the flyers for the park cleanup. And another thing, as Rich said, we were talking on Hurrock. We're just going to have our big events will be the Founders Day and Fall Fest. And I would like to get in contact with Montco. They had that presentation in January that we attended, some of us attended, and they wanted to just put out there what services that they have to offer our residents and our municipalities. And I thought if we could get in touch with them, and I believe it's the Department of External Affairs, and request if they could set up a table at our Founders Day. And that would have all of the information, the different programs that are available from the county, and just, make our residents aware of that. So I will send an email to, I think her name's Erin Boyle, and she's the Department of External Affairs. So I will report on that if I hear something from her. And that's been all I have.
Okay, thank you. In addition to that, what the mayor was talking about with the county, they have a wealth of information out there that I never realized. And if you go onto their website, it's very easy to get through, but they have tons of information, just about anything you can imagine a question on. So it's something that I think we really need to publicize, with people so that they're aware. It's tremendous what they have there. Okay, item 5, reports and correspondence, the monthly investment report.
Monthly investment reporting, cash accounts report is included in your packets. Just want to highlight for last month, for the year 2026 in total, we have had total disbursements of $21,218.60 into our Harleysville account, and fees for those services have been a little over $2,700. We also have the new report that we talked about at the last meeting, the investment tracking updated through February. So that just lists the federal cost and the mature to par cost. And we spoke that at the end of the month, we were not going to reinvest in the 24-month investment, just to see where that lands and see where the market is, because everything is under 4% and our current resolution doesn't allow us to invest in anything under 4%. We might have to look at that and change that just based on the economy and where we're at today, but that's something that Budget Finance and Labor can discuss at their next meeting and present to council.
All right. In the interim, are these going to be put into those funds that are going to be maturing? Are they going to be put into some sort of a lower interest instrument till we
They just go back into the key bank account, and they go back into like your general key bank account, your like Ginnie Mae funds, those type of things, that you can like pull from. So they'll just, doesn't lock them up anymore, they kind of freeze it up in your basic overall key bank account.
Okay, thank you. The monthly EIT and LST report.
Looking at EIT through March in 2026, we were at 148,235 versus 2025, we're at 136,835. So it looks like we're trending well for EIT. Moving on to LST through March, $12,074 in 2026, $12,155 in 2025. So seem to be about even through March. So we'll just keep an eye on those.
Okay. The monthly year-to-date report.
Monthly year-to-date report through the end of February. Just looking at high expenses for the month. Just wanted to highlight that we had a really high bill in January for electric, so that was $258,000. We had $126,000 for Armor and Son for the grant that we're doing out front. So we'll be getting some of that money back when we get the grant reimbursement. We did have our last backhoe payment of $61,000 in February and the quarterly HTMA of $148,000. So that's why the expenses seemed a little bit high in February.
Okay. All right. The monthly zoning hearing board application for 30 East Lincoln.
Hey, this one, all right, okay, in your package, you have an application for a variance from the core commercial district to put a residence in what has been used in the past as a residence for the church that was there. That's allowed, a residence for a church is allowed, it's it's an accessory, you know, sometimes it's a pastor or somebody who lives there, something like that. The new owner bought it and simply made it a residence, and that's not permitted in core commercial where we're trying to encourage people to have businesses or things like that. So the zoning officer sent a citation letter saying, look, you're not allowed to do this, either apply for permission or you're gonna get cited. So he applied for permission, which is fine, and that's the application that you see in front of you. The problem is that it says that property has been used as a residential single-family home since 1967, and the relief goes back to 1967. That's not exactly true. In fact, that's incorrect. Okay, so the zoning board is an independent quasi-judicial body that gets to make its decisions. So you could oppose it, support it, or just let it go, which is what we usually do. And usually borough council would only oppose it if it was something that you felt was dangerous or not good in case they granted it. And our zoning board has a lot of experience. So that's probably not the case here. I'm not asking you to oppose it because, I mean, if you want to oppose it, certainly you can do that, send the solicitor, whatever you want. My suggestion would be that you direct the zoning officer to testify as to what's in the file. This has not been used as an independent single-family residence since 1967. It was used residentially, but only in connection with a permitted use was a church. Okay. The reason I say that is because I think the zoning board needs that evidence in front of them. They can do whatever they want, but because I got to expect that this applicant will testify this way. He'll come in, he'll get sworn, and say, hey, it's used since 1967 this way. I don't even know why I'm here. I'm a zoning board solicitor. I've seen that. So I'm suggesting you make a decision whether you want to oppose it, support it, or simply direct the zoning officer to go and give testimony as to what's in the file about this use. And if I were the applicant, I would think that would help me because I could show that this is not an unusual use for that site. And all the borough's interested in is making sure everybody plays by the same rules. Meaning if you have to get a variance, you got to get a variance. So that's why I asked Jamie to make sure that you guys were aware of this one. And if you want to take any action, we can discuss it now and you can do it.
Yeah. Ideas, anybody? What's your feelings?
Well, I mean, it sounds like we have to understand what it was originally set up for, right? So we should confirm that, and then from there, we can make a determination as to whether we want to oppose it or do anything else. So,
Right.
so recommending what the solicitors.
It's coming up before our next meeting. So let me ask, Jamie, has reviewed the file. And I
Oh.
just gave you, what I think were the facts. Jamie, what does the file reflect about the use of the property? And I'm not suggesting you oppose it.
The use of the property was the original Heidelberg Church. So it was a church. Then it got sold to a gentleman who, maybe had used it for like a mix of commercial, residential. It was then purchased by the Coptic Church, and the Coptic Church came in, I think you were on council then. They came in 2014, 15, while they were building their church and asked for it to be used as worship / a parsonage for theirs. And council gave them a waiver of land development, and the waiver of land development was just for the Coptic Church, just for X amount of time, to only be used for those specific uses, a worship space and or a parsonage for the church. After that, this new applicant came in and purchased the property, and now it is being used or marketed as a single family residence. So that's the only thing that the property states. There was never any zoning hearing board. There wasn't anything located in the file that we could find.
Right, so I would also say that residential properties, a residential use is permitted in core commercial, but it's supposed to be upstairs. I don't have the ordinance in front of me, but it's supposed to be, what you're trying to encourage in core commercial are small businesses.
Right.
So you can have a residence, it's just not, like
You can't rent it out, so to speak. Make it
without
profitable.
permission.
Right,
Without permission, unless it's connected to a permitted use like a church.
right.
If we were to oppose it, what would go there then? I mean, another church? I mean, how can we? I mean, we need to use that property in some way. Now, of course, we could do what North Wales did and buy a church and take over and make it a cultural center. But I don't think that's in the cards yet for us. But what could we do if we oppose it?
If you oppose it, then they would have to use it in accordance with the core commercial zoning, which would be a small business or perhaps a small business on the first floor and an apartment upstairs.
Right.
So I don't think the use itself is necessarily worth opposing.
Right.
Unless we haven't had any neighbors come in and say, hey, I got this letter, So, but I do think it's important to support the zoning officer when he's doing his job.
Right.
And the applicant, before the applicant bought the building, they should have come in and talked to the zoning officer.
So they just made the assumption that it was okay to do it without checking any further. So they really just need the variance then.
And that's playing by the rules, apply for the variance, and that's what the zoning officer told.
Can
You
we,
either apply for the variance or stop using it that way.
can we in the variance stipulate certain limits to what they can do so it doesn't get out of hand and down the road somebody else comes into another property and says, oh, well, this guy did this, and
You could recommend that, but the ultimate decision maker is the zoning board. They're gonna make their decision. They can grant relief with conditions. In general, they would grant relief in accordance with the testimony entered into the evidence at the hearing. So you want to make sure the testimony is accurate and that it's, one single family or whatever. I don't know.
yeah, because my big concern too is, and I don't know if everybody else agrees, is that, okay, whoever this person is, we say can't do that. They pull out and then we have an empty building sitting here,
Right.
For 20 years till somebody happens to step up and say, oh, we can do something with it.
Right, which is why I am not recommending that you send me to oppose it. Okay, I'm recommending that you direct the zoning officer to testify or somebody else. I don't know, Jamie or somebody else to testify as to how the property was used in the core commercial district residentially as an accessory to a permitted use. The church was a permitted use. We have other churches.
Maybe you want to testify, right?
Well, it's on my 2026 bingo card. That's why I was like, well,
That's me, but it would cost you money, and
Yeah.
you're already paying hers. I'm not trying to make this hard. I just do think we
Right,
have to
right.
support the zoning officer. When we see the applicant has completely said the opposite.
Well, gentlemen, ladies, what do you think? Feelings?
I'm not opposed to it. I
Yeah.
think that it would be like you said, a vacant building.
Yeah, and that's what I'm afraid of happening.
Yes. Yes, I'd rather see it used as a home than vacant.
Opinions?
And that also would be my idea, is I want to see any vacant property. Now, I don't know why you usually provide information that we don't know, that's a whole different issue, but I would rather have the ability to be used.
Good.
If we, Madam Solicitor, if we support your recommendation and send send him to testify to its use, then the zoning board will make a determination.
Right,
Is that correct?
right, and I'm thinking the zoning officer we have is very new.
Mhm.
That's why it might be better to send somebody else.
Yeah, I know Ryan's planning to attend, I think Bob was like, gotta go, because it's his first time with him, but Ted's just like, helping. I certainly will do whatever council says, but I do believe both of them are gonna go just because Ryan's so new, that is his first one. I was also gonna encourage him to watch the meeting before he went, so he understood what he was,
Right, but in most,
your opinions and or what he should be expressing, because he's not here tonight.
in most cases, the zoning officer doesn't say a word at a zoning hearing, but in this particular case, this appeal was caused by his notice of citation. So he would have, it seems to me, standing to say something, and he should be encouraged to do that, or somebody else who has firsthand knowledge should be encouraged to do that, because I don't want the zoning board to be sitting there thinking that, well, why did the borough cite this guy? You know?
So then from there, we go from the zoning, so the zoning hearing board will make a determination, and then he could potentially come back to us and ask for another, or ask for variance, because
Variance.
what we're saying is that your application's incorrect, right?
Right.
So then-
You would have to ask them,
Okay,
and if you wanted to, you could make it explicit that borough council does not oppose the use of the property as a residence, but only wants the record to be clear. That it was a residence permitted because of its accessory to a permitted use.
Is there some way down the road, let's say this individual, he gets in there and 5 years from now, he sells the place off, and can that be then considered again as a strictly commercial property if somebody else approached us?
Yes, it can. However, a variance runs with the land.
So they'd have to
That
go
if the next
for,
guy wanted to rent it out as a single family dwelling, he could do that.
right,
I do think it's important to make him go to the zoning hearing board, so he says whether it's one dwelling or two or three or however, I
But-
think that's important.
but my thing is, if we get a business that comes in or a cultural group, so
Right.
we would like to take over that building,
But
okay, would they have to go through a variance to get it back to being considered a commercial property?
they would not if they put it to a permitted use.
Okay.
You can use any property for a permitted use. So they could just do that.
Okay.
Um,
I would say let's pursue what she recommends about, making the variance change. We all in agreement then?
Mhm.
Okay,
So, do you want to go testify or you want to?
Well, I can certainly talk to Ryan tomorrow about how comfortable he feels, or Bob, how comfortable he feels about it. And if they're not comfortable, I certainly can go. I was planning on going anyway. I can make that statement about the church and why it wasn't permitted use. But I will check with them first.
That's a good idea, because I do think the zoning officer has standing because he issued the citation, but I also think that whoever testifies should say borough council is not opposed,
all right.
Right.
but wants you to know what the file reflects, and this is what the file reflects. We're just being consistent as a borough in that.
All right. The only other thing I would ask is if you could keep us up to date as to who is actually going to attend that meeting, if it's going to be you or Bob or the new person.
Okay, yeah, I'll ask him tomorrow and
But
if he has to talk to Bob, we'll figure it out and I will send council an email and just let them know X, Y, and X is gonna be attended.
Okay.
I think I will also let the solicitor know.
Yeah.
That you didn't vote to oppose it, but you would like somebody to testify.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. Thank you. All right. Next item, the MCPC Steering Committee report.
So, sorry, the report is included in your packets. I really just wanted to highlight, the 2025 Comprehensive Plan Community Open House. So that's going to be scheduled for Wednesday, May 13th, 6 to 8 p.m. here at the Borough Office. We will be discussing open space, parks and recreation, environmental recommendations, borough-wide transportation and business development. It'll be very similar to the first open house that we had with the steering committee. Well, there'll be boards that will be placed and you can come and pick your top priorities, what you want to see. They'll take all that information back to kind of give you a draft, like a final draft plan that Borough Council will kind of discuss and adopt later this year. As part of that open house, we're going to make that also our town hall. There wasn't a lot of projects that are going on in 2026 and we did a whole budget presentation. So Steve and myself, along with the elected officials, are going to be available for general questions and answers that night. I'm in the process of making like an oversized poster board that highlights all of our projects for 2026, big budget items, grants, just so that will be available for display. Steve and I kind of talked, maybe we can all be out there and, keep it together, but keep it separate. If somebody has a question for the mayor, they certainly can ask. It doesn't have to be on the comprehensive plan, but that's more what the focus is on that night to have people come out. So that was kind of our idea. We'll provide like refreshments, waters, pretzels, that type of item. So just encourage people to come out. It is going to be in our informer. We do have tons of flyers. We'll be delivering them to businesses. If anybody wants to post them or take them somewhere, be happy. Just trying to get a lot of people to come out.
Okay. I'm assuming that's also going to include an update on the conversation we had about the pond and Heritage Park. Then what's going on with that?
Yeah, that would probably be just listed on, as Parks and Rec, on part of the open space Parks and Rec for the board. And then also on like the individual poster, we'll give like an update, like here's where we are with the talks of like the pond.
Okay.
Like the 3 things we've done so far.
Okay. All right. Any questions on that? All right. Thank you. The Hatfield 250 committee report.
Vice President Burns isn't here this evening, so I just wanted to highlight that Hatfield 250 committee is moving along. We had the Jeffersonian dinner. We have a children's history experience in April, Living History Day in May. The big celebration on July 4th, which is going to be party in the park along with like a pool party. So there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of great speakers that are coming up. So I'm just keeping a lookout. There is information that's posted. It is going to be highlighted centerfold of our informer that's going to come out at the end of April. So if anyone's interested in attending committee meetings or in any of that information, I'd be happy to pass it along. Also wanted to know if anyone is interested in a 250 hat. There's like a hat. I'm downstairs in my office. I meant to bring it up for everyone to look at, but I can send a picture. You have one? It's in my office. I'm sorry. But I can send a picture of it if anyone's interested in a 250 hat. We are also looking at t-shirts, like 250 t-shirts that we can sell. So if anyone's interested in any of those items, let me know and be happy to put an order together. I can send samples out that you can send me your shirt sizes and if you're interested in a hat.
Yeah.
Have they do some posing with the
Yeah, you can be
merch,
proud of
put
it.
it on the website.
Yeah, that's how we're gonna get the sales.
The affair last night that was held here, Larry, great job. I wish that we could get that many people out for our town halls and that. It was standing room only. It was really, really it was a great event. And every time I go to an event like that and listen to, stories about the Revolutionary War, I am constantly, how did we ever win that? Because during so much of that, it looks like all we did was lose. So I'm glad it turned out the way it did, but great event, great event.
Okay. All right, the police department report.
Lieutenant Graham's report is in your packet. He is not able to attend this evening, but he will be at the April 15th meeting. Also highlighting that, there was an invitation sent out if you were interested in doing a tour of the Hatfield Police Station. It will take place prior to the April 15th meeting, starting at, I think it was 5:45 PM. We will meet at the police station.
Okay. All right, the fire department report.
Do not have a report this month because my computer died, so I haven't had a chance to put it together. But we were slightly lower this month. We're down to 52 calls this month. So we didn't break 60 this month. That's nice, but we're still not pretty low. So 173 on the year. We're keeping busy.
Okay. Blame everything always on the computer, right? It's always the computer. Okay, thank you. The EMS report.
EMS report was included in your packets, a total of 1,022 calls for the month of February, 11 of those in Hatfield Borough. We continue to have pretty much the same call types, top 5 calls. So, and we're also roughly around 1% every month, so we keep tracking those numbers. I did send an email to Chief, and he is interested in presenting the recap for 2025 and also wants to talk about some other items. So we're gonna get some dates together to see when we can come in and present it.
Yeah. All right, Public Works Department report.
I actually have 3 things to highlight for this report, kind of sort of in an order of importance in my mind. One, we completed the Union Street storm sewer pipe replacement. It went really well. Fantastic job from my group with the staffing that I had available. They did a great job. 2, we did get allocated funds from the state for the grid resilience grant for pole replacement. It has been announced by the state representatives and the governor. So we did get those funds. Jamie and I are working on finalizing documents to get everything pushed through. And the last thing is the happy retirement of one of my close guys I've worked for my entire career here at Hatfield Borough, Derek Stover. After 15 years, he's retired, and everybody here at Hatfield Borough wishes him the best in his retirement.
We wish him luck.
Yes.
Hopefully he enjoys retirement. All right. One quick thing. You were talking about the funds. Is that related to the incident we had with the power outage a couple weeks ago with PPNL and their disaster?
I like your phrasing on their disaster. No, it does not. That is the grant that we went after for the replacing of the utility poles that were red tagged.
Okay.
It's through the Pennsylvania DEP grid resilience grant. It's basically anything that you could do to kind of harden your grid to make it more reliable. So we had submitted a grid application for replacing utility poles. I know we had talked last year through the budget finance and labor process about this grant, and I said, maybe not publicly, but through the committee level, that I was not confident on this grant, but we did actually get it. So surprised, very happy,
Good work.
very excited.
Good job.
Yeah, Council President, if you remember I think we allocated, it was an extra $36,000 in the budget because we had to put more in to be eligible for the grant.
Yes,
But it added a significant number of cost savings. I thought it was like
$355,000
yeah,
that we're
that we
receiving
would
from
pay over time. So yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot more work that has to be done to finalize everything, but like I said, Jamie and I are working through the process, and we're working with our representatives from the state to finalize everything.
And will it all be allocated this year, or is it something that's going to extend into next year as well too?
It's still in the early stages, but it seems like everything's going to be through this year.
Okay.
I think some of it's going to depend on us and on the state. They said the final process has been moving faster than they had initially expected. But I haven't heard like exact dates or timeframes on anything.
And once we know, we'll put a plan together that says, what we're gonna replace when.
Oh, absolutely. That's gonna be part of the grant.
Okay, so you have to define that ahead of time.
Yes.
Okay, okay. So,
Thought I saw a hand go up. Victor, did you have a question?
I'm just curious, how many poles?
Oh, putting me on the spot. Thank you. I think it was 43 or 46. I have two numbers in my head. I don't remember which one it is. It wasn't a huge significant, but like significant number, but it was significant for us.
Just curious.
Yeah.
great.
Okay.
And good job on that, because I know you suggested that, which was, and the manager, I know she had a part in too, but thank you guys for that, because that's a significant cost savings for the
Yeah.
borough, so, over time, so.
It's really a long-term thing. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm not saying that the pole replacement cost in the budget is gonna go away completely to zero, but it will drastically reduce in years forward, getting on top of everything.
Okay. All right, the engineering report?
As report was included in your packets, we'll just highlight, for land development, Hatfield Borough, site utilities have been installed and, work on the buildings is ongoing. For Bennett's Court, they are working with the builder to address some stormwater comments. For 43 Roosevelt, the buildings are under roof and internal house construction is going on. For 200 North Main Street, the Biblical Seminary, we had a few meetings, some with just internally with Hatfield Borough, some were joint with Hatfield Township. And the biggest thing we're talking about right now is stormwater for the property. So, if you remember, Hatfield Borough Zoning Hearing Board put an order in that we had to, that development had to run a pipe down Main Street all the way to the post office, to regulate stormwater on their property. That order didn't really consult Hatfield Borough or engineering, though it was a condition of the order. So we're talking with the developer of like, what's the best option for stormwater on that property? Is it containing it, a little bit more on that property, dispersing it to Hatfield Township, but they'll be taking on additional water? Is it going down, East School? Just don't know that going to the post office is the best for the borough. And or the best for the developer. So we're working through that process. They do have to come back into Hatfield Borough, as their zoning expired for the borough. They're good in the township, so we should see them shortly, to ask for, an extension on their zoning. And, they're looking to have groundbreaking or a ribbon cutting, for groundbreaking in October. We kind of think that's a little fast considering we haven't seen any land development yet and just that, and they have to go to zoning, so that process takes a while. They will be building, used to be the second phase first, so they're not going to build first the Biblical Seminary, the school, and turn that into 83 units. They got a remediation grant. They will be remediating that building and building the building, adjacent to it as the first phase. So how their funding works is they get funding for a phase. The phase has to be up, completed, and occupied before they can get funding for a second phase. So then they will get funding for a second phase, which will be the building back along the baseball fields. And then when they get that up, built, occupied, then they can do phase 3, which will be the school. So it's probably going to take a significant amount of time to see all 3 buildings up and occupied. We did talk to them about it. We will be addressing it during land development. What does that mean the site looks like during those transitional phases? We certainly want it to look nice for the neighborhood. Hatfield Township built the same way. So those are just things that we'll have to talk about during land development when they submit plans. But the real issue right now is stormwater and how are they going to address that for that?
So that sounds to me like a 2 to 5 year process for all the building to go on then.
Yeah, I said 10 years.
10?
But I think we were just like, oh, that's like a really long time. I don't think it's gonna take 10 years, but we were in the meeting. We said, it's probably looking like 6 years, like for it to be complete. If they received funding when they applied, this portion, this was their second time applying for funding that they got accepted. So they might apply for it and not get it on the first round and have to go back again. So that also will delay the process. I know there's a need for lower income aging adult housing. I think he said he'll build 90, a little bit over 90 units between 3 buildings, and his wait list is over 600.
Oh, yeah,
That's
sure.
the need in Montgomery County. Like there's just a need for it, so,
And we've been talking about developing this property for
yeah.
Years.
forever. So from the stormwater standpoint, I'm assuming it doesn't impact the township no matter which direction it goes, right?
Yeah, so I guess it's just you're taking on and correct me, you can talk better on it than I can legally taking stormwater from another municipality into your municipality is not favored upon in the conservation district. Like in DEP, it's
Okay.
like, it's different, like stormwater, like facilities and management, so it's not favored. So it would have to basically be sold with a gold ribbon on it for that to be
Yeah.
the way. If they think they can do it with the data and the numbers, they actually think they'll be keeping more on the property with oversized basins and things, but it's gotta be like tightened up with a gold ribbon to sell it because you're taking stormwater necessarily from one municipality to another, even though we touch and,
Well, as I said, it all runs through the
yeah,
same
it
process.
all goes to the
So,
west of Champaign eventually, but how it gets there is how they look at it.
But the property's in both
Correct, yeah.
municipalities.
So that's why they think they can tighten it up nice and make it look good. Also, you have to think, they gotta sell it to their elected officials, right? If someone came in to you and was like, hey, you're gonna take stormwater on from Hatfield Township. Like, you're just gonna ask, what's the data look like, or what's the numbers look like? So we told him that the numbers, the math's gotta match for it to work. You can't ask somebody else to take that on. I certainly wouldn't ask my elected officials to take on more stormwater if the math wasn't working.
Well, any development is required to manage its stormwater so that it's no more coming off after development than before.
Right.
So it's that, and the other thing is state law says that water has a right to flow downhill. The law of gravity supersedes the law of stormwater. Okay, so, I'm
And
sure
we're
the
downhill.
engineers can work it out. I really think they can,
That's what we said.
That's what their job is,
Yeah.
figure it out.
Okay. I have one other question, and this is in relation to North Main Street, 32 North Main Street. Mayor and I took a walk about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago over to the site there. And I noticed the driveway, to me, doesn't look the same as it looked on the original site plan.
The curve.
Yeah, it curves instead of going straight in. And what sort of a change was made there? Because I can't see if I remember correctly, they were supposed to be putting like a directional island at the mouth of that driveway to direct traffic to go right instead of going left and making a turn because it was so close to the corner. I don't see how they're going to put an island in there, and they have that curve now in that driveway.
I know that, I think Steve and I talked about, when I said that, I talked about with Chad, that I was like, the driveway just looks off to me. So we did bring it to the engineer's attention. I believe the original plans, how we left it was that, after the development was up, Borough Council would decide if they wanted to direct traffic only right, or you would allow left-hand turns. That would be after the development, so there's not gonna be an island in the middle, immediately, because that would direct people just to the right. You wouldn't be able to turn left. And we did some different line striping to allow for not backups in the left-hand turn lane.
Right. They agreed to that.
Yes, they agreed to that, and they did pay for that. They gave us a financial contribution. But I also, and Steve was there when we met with Chad, and you can fill in that. I said the same thing, the driveway just looks off to me. It
Yeah.
looks like it curves more than it should, but I don't know if that's just how it's built. It's not done, or it's not paved.
Well, they
I
have
don't know.
They have the curb stones in there already.
Yeah.
And, my impression was it was supposed to be straight back.
Yeah, I do know that there was always parking.
Well, yeah, I remember the
right
parking
there.
on the sides
Yeah.
between there.
I feel like
But-
it looks different than it looks on paper. Like when you
And to
drive up.
me, that's something, how are they still gonna, get a fire engine in there, if a ladder truck if they need to? It's still, to me, a problem. And then maybe even more of a problem now because of that curve.
Yeah, and I can certainly follow up with Chad. I know we talked about it when he was here for our meeting. Because you might have said it too, that it just looks weird. I might have talked to the mayor about it as well. The driveway just looks, I'll follow up with Chad and
Yeah.
ask. And the fire truck question, maybe Butch can ask. About the 23 North Main Street. how the driveway curves, is that like an issue for fire truck access, that?
I'm gonna need for the ladder. A long truck.
Yeah,
Well, I haven't seen it myself, so I can't really say one way or the other.
yeah, because it's sort of like comes to, I mean, the entrance is wide, but when you get it further in, it constricts down. And I don't know how you can get a truck to make that curve inside there. You know, it's one thing if it's straight back, you can back out, you know, go in, but I don't know how they're gonna do that. To me, it looks weird.
I'll take it to the chief one time since.
Yeah.
Take a look.
But Madam Manager, I'm assuming that if the as-built doesn't match the plans, then someone's gonna have to come back and ask for a variation, or they're gonna have to fix it to match the plans. right?
Yeah, so when Chad does like, is it not like a final, but as we're working through any escrow processes to, get any escrow, you have to provide as-built, whether it's stormwater, ramps, whatever it is. And if it doesn't meet what's on the plans, then they have to change it. So we certainly wouldn't give them any escrow money or anything. So if it's building it, it looks wrong and they check it out and measure it, and it's wrong, they'd have to redo it.
But Chad is inspecting as they go.
He is, yes. They've been doing ENS controls, because I talked to him today about it, that he's been out a couple times for ENS controls.
Not just that, but they've been out there inspecting and watching over like the base material for the blacktop and the roadway. They've been watching over that, so they've been doing multiple inspections throughout the whole process.
I mean, overall, it fits in there well, and it looks nice. I think the question is only the road, right? So I thought the buildings looked nice. I thought it looked nicer than I thought it was gonna turn out to be. So, I mean, it does fit a lot into a small space, don't get me wrong, but.
Those backyards are totally non-existent.
There's open space on this one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all right.
but look at the houses on Vine Street, right? They have a water basin in the backyard.
Makes sense to me. Go 5 feet out your back door and you're in a swimming pool.
You know, but that, actually, young people are preferring that. They don't want a lot of yard maintenance, right? So that's
Yeah,
why
but
they
not
prefer-
5 feet away from the house.
Well, you know,
Doesn't matter.
All over the counties, they're buying big houses on small lots.
Mhm.
Because they don't have time to cut the grass.
Yeah.
So,
That's
Not my
first,
money.
Follow up with Chad on the driveway.
Yeah. All right, zoning officer, building code and property maintenance report.
The March report was included in your package, just highlighting 4 notice of violations. One was for a trailer, rubbish and work without a permit. And then a non-traffic citation was issued for 29 Poplar Street. That was a stop work order for unsafe structure. There was a fire located in one of the units in B16, and they put a circuit or a panel in a closet without a permit, obviously. So they're gonna work on that.
Hide the electrical panel, right? All right, fire marshal and fire safety inspection report.
There's no official report in your packets, but I do know that he's working with Katie on fire safety and rental inspections as well, getting those out the door, the mailing, so we get the income coming in. So those have been mailed.
Thank you. Pool advisory report.
The minutes for the pool advisory report are included in your packets, just highlighting, most of it is about, the summer months coming up and, hiring leadership. They do give, the swim team updates. So if there's any, specific questions, I'd be happy to take them back to the board.
Questions on that?
Is there any, now that the funding is done, are there any plans for any additional capital investment into the pool in the near future? Is there any conversation about that?
There hasn't been yet because we're on that like limbo year with them. So, I'm sure that will be part of the conversation when we talk about renegotiating the agreement next year, along with like the police contract. Like if they're looking to put $1 million into the pool,
Right.
what are they looking for us?
Right.
To help compensate.
But they haven't started that.
They have not started that
Okay.
conversation.
All right, the junior council person report. We don't have a
No
junior council person here, so there's no report. All right. Item 6, managers report.
Highlighting a few things on my report, under utilities, that, disconnects will resume, in April. So notices went out for electric and disconnects will be at the end of the month. Under items of interest, just wanted to highlight that the North Penn Water Authority fire hydrant flushing schedule has come out. March 29th through April 19th is Hatfield Borough slotted time. So sometimes you get calls about residents seeing brown water or those things. It's because of the hydrant flushing. PSAB annual conference is held May 31st through June 3rd. If anyone's interested in attending, please let me know and I'd be happy to register you. The Montgomery County Boroughs Association annual dinner meeting is Thursday, April 23rd, hosted by Conshohocken and West Conshohocken. If you're interested in attending, please respond to me by April 10th. And that mark your calendars for the police department open house on June 20th. More details will follow. If you could let me know if you're around that day and you'll be participating. I know Chief wants to know who from the borough will be there, who would like to speak and say a few words, and also maybe help out with like working a table or those things. I know there'll be some things going all the way down to the History Society and all the way up the street's going to supposedly be closed, a really big event. So if you're around on the 20th and are able to attend the event, let me know. I'd just like to give Chief like a head count. I know Public Works is going to be working the event with us, also some staff members.
Okay. All right, item 7, new business discussion items. Item A, the resolution 2026-04, Derek Stover, years of service.
This resolution is honoring Derek's 15 years of service to Hatfield Borough. It's on for consideration as an action item. What we have done, Derek retired yesterday, was his last day. So we wanted to honor him with a resolution. Borough Council also got him a clock and a gift card for his years of service. Derek's going to provide me a date that he can come back and where I will let council know and you guys can come and say goodbye and get on a clock and a card. He did not want any type of retirement party, walkthrough. He wanted lunch with the guys. So that's what Hatfield Borough provided him. He was very happy for that. I thought it was really neat. It's going to be highlighted in our informer that between him and Ed, 50 years of service to this municipality. That is amazing and awesome that we have such dedicated workers that stay around this long, that have worked out great and are just great people in general. So thought it was super cool that it'll be highlighted in the informer. And this is on for consideration as an action item, like I said, to honor Derek for his years of service.
And not only that too, but it's a big loss because there's 50 years of experience that went out the door and you're gonna have a tough time replacing that, right, Steve? All right. All right, item B, the Allegheny Electric Cooperative Agreement for Electric Service.
So Hatfield Borough receives power from New York Power Authority, which is NYPA, as part of our portfolio. They represent 5.7% of our portfolio. The rest of that is energy that we purchase through NextEra or Fremont or on the market. So NYPA has asked for a rate increase. So they publicized the rate increase. You'll see that in the contract. It's a difference of about $2,300 for Hatfield Borough for this upcoming year, 26 through 27. April 1st through 2026 through March 31st, 2027. It'll add an additional $2,300 to our cost to purchase electricity. As part of the rate increase, we just have to update our contract with them because our contract includes the rate increase and includes the dates of service. So those were the only major changes, part of our contract. I provided both the red line contract or blue line contract along with the updated contract. And again, the changes were rate structure, which was highlighted, and just offsetting the dates, just updating those. I did give it to the solicitor to review in full just to make sure that everything was copacetic. And she seemed to agree.
Yes, I did review it. It's pretty much the same contract as you had before. The bad news is the rates are going up. The good news is that it's a fairly long contract.
Yeah.
So at least you have predictability so that when you're planning your electric budget, you know what you have. The only thing it doesn't cover, and Jamie and I were talking about this earlier, is this is the power cost, but then there's a fairly significant charge that you get through the grid for getting the power.
Transmission.
Yeah, those transmission fees. So they're not covered by this, but the good news is that this goes out pretty far, 10 years.
32.
7 years.
No, right.
Yeah.
7 years from now.
One thing that I noticed is this is front loaded where your largest increase starts the first year. It starts at the increase is like about 13%. And then it tapers off when you hit the 2032 year, it's only around 7% increase. So they sort of front loaded this. So, it doesn't hit all at one time.
Yeah, and our having NIPA has been beneficial to us in 2025. It lowered our overall rates by like $1 a megawatt hour just by participating in NIPA. So it is, I understand a rate, no one wants a rate increase, but it has been beneficial on the back end for us for our power costs.
Right. And you're going to be facing it no matter what, because coming down the road, I mean, they've got to do something about the electrical system in this country. So they'll wind up paying for it one way or the other.
It's good that it goes out several years and at least it's predictable.
Yeah. Okay.
It's on for consideration as an action item. Utilities spoke about this, the rate increase maybe in, February when we met, but it took them a little while to get the contract together, so the rates actually go in effect as of today. So they asked if they could have the agreement back today. I said, well, council has to vote on it today to authorize me to sign it, so hopefully you get it back on the 2nd.
Yeah.
They were fine with that.
Okay. All right, item C, updated feral and outdoor cat ordinance.
The committee here? No.
Michelle is, Larry Burns is not, the mayor is.
Shell, do you want to talk about it? Because this has been through several iterations, but we've got one that the committee's happy with.
You can take over.
Okay. Great. The basic thrust of this is you can feed feral cats, but only under certain circumstances. And so if you want to feed feral cats, you have to register and you have to show that the cats have been neutered and that they got, that they've gotten the shots and all like that. So it doesn't, because it has not been successful in saying you can't feed more than 5 cats or whatever it was, because 6 cats, but it's not easy to enforce that because you gotta stand around, wait till 6 cats show up,
And then take pictures.
There's never been any citations because
it's
we didn't
just
have
too
the
hard.
evidence.
Right, but at the same time, people do love the cats and they want to take care of them, but they're the ones who will register and do it correct. And then there's other people who live next door to somebody who loves the cats and is not doing it correctly, and the cats are roaming all over their neighbors, and the neighbors are upset. So this new ordinance basically says, it's very refined in the sense that it says, okay, you can't feed them unless you register. You can register and feed them, but you gotta play by the rules. So, I'll be asking now, if you wanna tell me, should I advertise it to be on an agenda in the future? It's a, police power ordinance. It requires only 1 week. So, if we scramble, we can get it in time for the regular meeting, or we could do it at the next month. What is your pleasure?
I didn't put it on as like an action item to advertise because I knew Councilmember or Vice President Burns was not gonna be here.
Right.
And he was like we talked about, hey, we can really advertise if you could get it over and before maybe mating season happens, but I knew he's been a big part of the committee and I wasn't sure, and
So maybe we should wait till
Yeah,
the regular
that's fine.
meeting
Yeah.
this month to advertise it for next month.
Right. that's
in
fine.
case he has any comments. I also know that Pepe's been really active in this, and I know he wasn't gonna be here tonight, and I thought about asking, or the mayor can ask, like, if he had any comments of, sure, Marcus as well, but I know that he kind of worked with us when we all sat down.
We can wait for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I don't think that's.
And during the 2 weeks, everybody can reread it, make sure we didn't
Right,
miss something.
right. And I know that it wasn't included because I don't think we've done the actual caregiver permit application. But I have one that it's from Wyomissing Borough. And this is basically what ours would look like. So I'll just pass it along if you want to get some idea of what it will look like.
And I know she was working on it, so we can make sure it's done and include it in the packet for the regular
Right.
meeting. We'll send it to the committee to say, hey, this is kind of are we missing anything? Then we'll include that as well, so people can see like, hey, when you do register, what it looks like, this is all the criteria you have to meet
Right.
to be able to register. I also think that it was great that this ordinance highlights violations and penalties immediately. We don't have to we can go to Judge Levine's office, but we don't have to. We can issue a violation immediately if there are people that are not following the rules.
Right.
Now it's like counting cats and waiting and going to Judge Levine's office.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that really made no sense.
Yeah.
I also like that we, in the definitions of feeding, it includes the placing food in a location accessible to animals, and the presence of unconsumed food or empty containers can be considered as proof that food as an attractant was intentionally provided. So you don't have to get pictures of cats, but if there's 10 empty cat cans, has to be cat food cans, it has to be that they're feeding them.
Right. But
So
it's
that-
hard to prove it, you know?
Right.
And the other problem is the police didn't want to deal with this. So if we can have our code officer deal with this, that makes it faster and easier to get it done.
Any questions on that?
Yeah, we were going to, Michelle, you spoke about getting in touch with people that are interested in being these caregivers. Is that going to occur on the evening that we discuss it at a meeting, or is that going to be a separate meeting with these people?
I know that me and Larry had talked about having some kind of like a open for some, that she could talk about it. and
Right.
everything with residents of the borough. You didn't give a final answer yet on that, so I guess once we hear from him, if we can schedule something to go over it, then that's it.
Okay, do we want to have a separate meeting or just have it during a council meeting when we have? I mean, I don't care.
I think maybe a separate meeting, because I think that maybe it will draw out a council meeting longer than it needs to be.
Okay,
Yeah,
could be.
yeah, because I think that's a pretty,
Hot topic.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else on that? All right, item D, resolution 2026-05, recognizing Safe Digging Month.
April is recognized as Pennsylvania 811 Safe Digging Month. And this resolution just supports that, Hatfield Borough Council supports the Pennsylvania Underground Utility Line Protection Law Act 287 of 1974. And proclaim Pennsylvania Safe Digging Month for the month of April. And you encourage all Pennsylvanians to visit the Pennsylvania 811 website and practice safe digging. So it's on for consideration as an action item at the regular meeting. We've done this every year for the past several years, and then we give it to our PA 811 rep, and they really like it, and they publicize it, and they say we're one of the municipalities that like promote safe digging. Always call.
Call before you dig.
Yeah, that's it. Call for your day. That's what it is.
Yeah, but then you come and spray up my driveway.
Yes.
Yeah. That's why it's they call.
I know.
Okay, item E, 2026 PSAB voting delegate and alternate.
Hatfield Borough Council has to enact a voting delegate for the PSAB conference. If you're interested in attending the conference and you want to be the voting delegate, let me know. I will be attending the conference and would be happy to be the voting delegate, but always leave it up to elected officials. If they're going, then they could be the voting delegate. If you're not interested, we'll put this on for an action item next meeting, and then we'll just list myself as the voting delegate. That's what we've done in the years past, but if anyone is interested in going and wants to vote on the resolutions.
All right, item A, old business of that, item A, the Hatfield Legion Post 933 Memorial Day Parade request.
Post 933 sent a letter requesting the use of Memorial Park for the Memorial Day Parade and also asking if Hatfield Borough will coordinate with PennDOT for the HOV permit. So we are looking to have this approved this evening, and we will take those tasks on of working and coordinating with PennDOT for the HOV permit for the Memorial Day Parade.
Any questions? Item B, Resolution 2026-03, Memorial Day Parade Road Closure Request.
This is the official resolution that allows the borough to close any borough roads for the Memorial Day Parade. We submit this with the application to PennDOT that just says Borough Council acknowledges that road closures need to take place and that we will be coordinating. So it's on for consideration as an action item. And I'll also highlight, if you are interested in participating in the Memorial Day Parade, just let me know. If you're, I'll have Lindsay send an email out like closer to see if you're gonna walk. I'll walk, still have candy. And if anybody is interested in like speaking as part of the ceremonies, let me know and I can let the Legion know. I think it was listed in here if you were interested to like just kind of report.
One question, in the event of bad weather, are they going to postpone that to a different date, or is it just going to be canceled?
I think in the past they've canceled it, but they still like have met at the Hatfield Legion for some sort of small ceremony, whether it was inside, but they canceled the parade aspect of it. I feel like 1 year that.
When was the last time I can't remember.
Oh my gosh, I know the comment.
We've been pretty fortunate, so
Yeah.
to have good weather.
It's been a while, but I know we've had questionable years in the past, and they have basically said as long as there's no lightning or torrential downpours, they are proceeding with the parade. They're push come to shove, they are going to try to have the parade.
We'll have enough candy, right?
Yeah.
That's important.
I think we got a little more last year.
Started buying in September. All right. Item 9, action items. Item A. We need a motion to consider the Hatfield American Legion request to hold the Memorial Day Parade ceremony at Memorial Park.
Second.
Okay. I have a motion from Councilperson Wise, seconded by Councilperson Hawk. All those in favor?
All right.
Aye. Okay. Item B, a motion to consider resolution 2026-03, authorizing the closure of certain borough roads for the Hatfield American Legion Memorial Day Parade.
I make that motion.
Second.
I have a motion from Councilperson Ferguson, seconded by Councilperson Weiss. All those in favor?
All right.
Okay. Item C, resolution 2026-04, honoring Derek Stover's years of service to Hatfield Borough.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilperson Weiss, seconded by Councilperson Hawk. All those in favor, say
All right.
Aye.
aye. Okay.
Steve, I'm surprised you didn't try and make that motion.
I thought about it.
He's afraid it burns me too.
Say.
It's sad.
It's like enough Solicitor Harper's always trying to make a motion, get in there. Get a motion made, so.
All right, item D, a motion to approve the agreement for electric service with Allegheny Electric Cooperative and authorize Borough Manager Jamie E. Snyder to sign the agreement.
So move.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilperson Ferguson, seconded by Councilperson Hawk. All those in favor?
All right.
Okay. Item 10, motion to approve the payment of the March bills.
Make that motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilperson Ferguson, seconded by Councilperson Hawk. All those in favor? Aye.
All right.
All right. Are we going to have an executive session this evening?
I just have to talk real quick about one litigation item.
Okay, all right, then I need a motion to adjourn for an executive session related to personnel, litigation, and real estate.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
All right.
Okay. Thanks all, everyone for coming. We are adjourned this evening.